The Viridian High Command celebrated their victory with crystalline glasses filled with phosphorescent liquid, their scaled hands reflecting the shimmer of success. Supreme Commander Zextal stood before the massive observation window of their flagship, admiring the swirling green clouds that had once been the human colony of New Eden. Their bioweapon had worked perfectly. 5 million humans reduced to organic particles in less than an hour. The primitives will surely understand their place now. Zextal's second-in-command, Revak, hissed with satisfaction. Their technology may have granted them the stars, but they lacked the evolutionary refinement to be true galactic citizens. But aboard the Earth Alliance vessel Hyperion, hiding in the shadow of New Eden's larger moon, Admiral Kira Patel watched the massacre through eyes that had long since run dry of tears. Her dark skin appeared ashen in the dim light of the bridge, and her hands gripped the command chair with white-knuckled intensity. "Replay the sensor data," she commanded, her voice steady despite the horror she'd witnessed. Lieutenant James Wong, his features illuminated by the holographic display, compiled the information without comment. They had all watched helplessly as the attack unfolded, their orders explicitly clear: observe and report. Do not engage. "Ma'am," Wong's voice cracked slightly. "The bioweapon, it's not what we initially thought. The quantum signatures suggest it was specifically engineered to target human DNA. They've been planning this for years." The bridge fell silent. This wasn't just an attack, it was attempted genocide. The Viridians had studied humanity, catalogued their genetic makeup, and designed a weapon that would leave their own colonists unharmed while eradicating every human down to the last child. Admiral Patel stood slowly, her movement drawing every eye on the bridge. "Send the data to Earth Command, priority ultraviolet, then prepare for immediate departure." She paused, looking at each crew member in turn. "What we do next will define humanity for generations to come. The Viridians think they understand us. They believe they've seen the extent of human capability in our colonies, our trade agreements, our diplomatic missions." She walked to the main viewport, watching as the Viridian flagship began its victory departure. "They see our diversity as weakness, our adaptability as lack of focus, our kindness as submission." A subtle smile crossed her face, but it held no warmth. "They have no idea what humanity is capable of when pushed too far." The next 48 hours transformed human space. Colony after colony went dark, communications ceased, and trade routes fell silent. The Viridians watched with smug satisfaction, believing they had cowed humanity into isolation. In her office at the Lunar Defense Complex, Admiral Patel met with Dr. Rajesh Singh, Earth's foremost expert in quantum mechanics. The holographic display between them showed complex calculations that would have been meaningless to most observers. "It's possible," Singh said, his fingers dancing through the projection. "We've been developing the theory for decades, but we never had the motivation to push it this far. With enough resources." "Resources are no longer a concern," Patel interrupted. "Every nation on Earth has signed the Unity Protocol. We have the combined industrial capacity of 300 colonies and 15 billion humans, all focused on one goal." Singh nodded slowly, understanding the implications. "We'll need to modify the quantum field generators. The energy requirements will be astronomical. Jupiter Station is being converted as we speak. The antimatter facilities on Titan have tripled production." Patel's eyes never left the calculations. "How long?" 6 months for the prototype, another 3 for full deployment." Singh hesitated. "Admiral, once we start this, there's no going back. The physical laws we're planning to rewrite. They rewrote the laws of humanity when they murdered 5 million innocent people." Patel's voice was steel. "The Viridians believe they've seen humanity at its finest. They're wrong. They've never seen humanity united in purpose. They've never seen us when we stop playing by the rules of civilization and start playing by the rules of survival." As the Hyperion broke orbit, headed for Earth, Admiral Patel recorded one final log entry. They had no idea what humans would do to avenge their own. But they're about to learn. May whatever gods they believe in have mercy on their souls, because humanity no longer will. The message spread throughout human space like a silent wave. Prepare. The stars themselves would soon bear witness to humanity's response, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Viridian news networks buzzed with speculation about humanity's silence. 3 months had passed since the pacification of New Eden, and the human response had been nothing. No diplomatic protests, no military retaliation, not even a formal acknowledgement of the attack. Human space had become a void of communication, leaving their trading partners confused and their enemies suspicious. In the grand chamber of the Viridian Collective, General Zextol received yet another round of accolades. The primitive species finally understands its place, he declared to thunderous approval. They hide in their worlds, cowering from superior evolution. But deep within the asteroid belt of humanity's home system, a different reality was taking shape. The massive facility known as Project Nightfall stretched for kilometers through the hollowed-out core of Ceres. Dr. Rajesh Singh stood before a quantum display that showed the impossible, a controlled tear in space-time itself. The containment field is holding, reported Dr. Isabella Reyes, her hands dancing across holographic controls. Phase alignment at 98%. The former theoretical physicist had been called out of retirement for this project, her decades of research into quantum mechanics finally finding its terrible purpose. Through reinforced windows, they watched as reality itself twisted and warped within the test chamber. The tear showed glimpses of something that shouldn't exist in normal space. Admiral Patel, Singh called out, knowing she would be monitoring. We're ready for the next phase. The Admiral's hologram materialized beside them. She looked older than she had 3 months ago, the weight of 5 million souls evident in the new lines on her face. Show me. Singh gestured at the display. We've succeeded in creating a stable quantum fissure. But what makes this different from traditional quantum research is what we've discovered about consciousness. Explain. Dr. Reyes stepped forward. We found that human consciousness, specifically human emotion, can influence quantum states in ways we never imagined. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the effect, Patel finished. And what emotion is stronger than grief? Than rage? Precisely, Singh confirmed. We've developed a way to harness that energy, to focus it. He paused, knowing the weight of his next words. We can weaponize human consciousness itself. In lunar orbit, the transformation of humanity's military was equally dramatic. Colonel Nathan Drake watched as his pilots interfaced with their new neural links, their minds connecting directly with their fighters through quantum entanglement. The synthesis rate is higher than expected, reported Lieutenant Sofia Kovacs, monitoring the neural feeds. They're achieving full integration in hours instead of days. Drake nodded, understanding the implications. Humanity's grief, its rage, its absolute determination to avenge New Eden. It was accelerating the neural bonding process. Their emotions were literally making them evolve faster. Meanwhile, in the depths of Europa's ocean, another aspect of humanity's response took shape. Dr. Yuki Tanaka supervised as molecular assemblers constructed swarms of nanobots, each programmed with a single purpose: to transform Viridian biology against itself. The viral payload is ready, she reported to Patel's hologram. Once released, it will rewrite their genetic code at the quantum level. Not to kill them. That would be too merciful. To change them. To make them understand, on a cellular level, what they've done. Patel's expression remained neutral, but her eyes held a cold fire. How long until everything is ready? The quantum tiers are stable. The neural integration is complete. The nanoswarms are prepared. Singh checked his calculations one final time. We can begin within 48 hours. No, Patel decided. We wait 3 more days. Let them celebrate their victory one last time. Let them toast to their superiority. Let them sleep peacefully in their beds. believing they've won. She turned to face the quantum tear, watching as reality itself bent to human will. Then we'll show them what humanity really is. Not just our technology, not just our weapons. We'll show them our unity, our determination, our capacity for both vengeance and mercy. Her voice dropped to a whisper. We'll show them why every species that ever pushed humanity too far learned to regret it. In Viridian space, celebration preparations were underway for the 3-month anniversary of their great victory. None of them noticed the quantum distortions beginning to appear at the edges of their sensor ranges. None of them recognized the significance of the strange dreams their scientists had begun reporting. Dreams of human faces, of burning worlds, of judgment. They had no idea that humanity's silence wasn't submission. It was the calm before a storm that would rewrite the laws of physics themselves. A storm born of grief, forged in rage, and delivered with the cold precision of a species that had transformed its pain into purpose. The countdown to Operation Starfall had begun. The celebration on Viridia Prime reached its peak as their 3 suns set in sequence, painting the sky in shades of amber and violet. Supreme Commander Zextal raised his ceremonial chalice to address the gathered elite, their scaled bodies gleaming with bioluminescent triumph markings. Today marks. He began, but never finished. The sky exploded. Not with weapons or energy beams, but with tears in reality itself. Massive quantum fissures ripped open above every major Viridian city simultaneously, each one a window into something that shouldn't exist. And through each tear poured humanity's response, ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Patel stood on the bridge of the EA's Nemesis, humanity's first quantum-conscious warship. Her neural link hummed with the combined consciousness of her crew, their minds united through quantum entanglement into a single purpose. All ships, execute Operation Starfall, she commanded, her words carrying through both conventional channels and quantum consciousness. Remember New Eden. The response came back in a chorus of voices and thoughts. Remember New Eden. The Viridian Defense Fleet never stood a chance. Their ships, impressive by conventional standards, were useless against vessels that could predict their movements before they made them, that could shift between quantum states faster than light itself. Humanity had spent 3 months not just advancing their technology, but fundamentally changing what was possible. Dr. Singh monitored the quantum field readings from his command center on Ceres. The consciousness amplification is exceeding all projections, he reported. The crew's emotional states are strengthening the quantum effects by orders of magnitude. Through her neural link, Patel felt rather than saw the battle unfolding. Each human ship moved as an extension of its crew's collective will, their grief and rage focused into weapons that ignored conventional physics. Viridian vessels found themselves phased out of normal space, their crews trapped in temporal loops where they experienced their attack on New Eden from the victim's perspective, over and over. Deploy the nanoswarms, Patel ordered. From the belly of each human ship, clouds of microscopic machines descended toward the Viridian worlds. Dr. Tanaka's creation began its work, infiltrating the very air they breathed. Within hours, the first changes began. Help us. The Viridian communication channels erupted with panic. Something's happening to our children. The nanobots weren't killing them. Instead, they were subtly altering Viridian biology, introducing the capacity for human-like empathy. For the first time, they could truly feel the weight of what they'd done. Colonel Drake led the fighter squadrons through maneuvers that defied reality. His pilots, their consciousness merged with their craft through quantum links, danced through space in ways that made the Viridians' most advanced targeting systems useless. This isn't possible, Zextal whispered as he watched his mighty fleet reduced to quantum-scattered debris. They were primitives. They were weak. No, Patel's voice came through every communication device on every Viridian world simultaneously. We were patient. We were merciful. And you mistook that for weakness. The quantum tiers widened, and from them emerged humanity's second wave. Massive structures that defied conventional engineering. Space stations that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, weapon platforms that could target ships through both space and time. Lieutenant Kovacs monitored the neural feeds as humanity's combined consciousness reached levels never before recorded. "The quantum field is becoming self-sustaining," she reported. "Their fear is feeding our strength." But it wasn't just military targets that felt humanity's response. As Dr. Tanaka's nanobots spread, Viridian society began to transform. Children born during the attack woke crying from nightmares of New Eden. Adults found themselves overwhelmed with empathy, experiencing phantom memories of human suffering. "We could destroy you," Patel's voice continued, echoing through Viridian minds. "We could turn your worlds to ash as you did to New Eden. But that would be too simple. Instead, we're giving you the one thing you never had, the ability to understand what you've done." The Viridian military command structure collapsed within hours. Their weapons, designed around their original biology, became useless as their neural patterns shifted to accommodate their new capacity for empathy. Their mighty empire, built on biological superiority, faced a force that had transcended biology itself. As the first day of Operation Starfall drew to a close, Admiral Patel stood before the quantum tear above Viridia Prime. Through the neural link, she felt the satisfaction of every human crew member, the vindication of every lost soul from New Eden. "This is only the beginning," she broadcast. "You thought you knew humanity's limits. You thought you understood what we were capable of. You were wrong. And now you'll spend the rest of your existence understanding exactly how wrong you were." In the quantum-shifted space above Viridia Prime, humanity's ships hung like dark stars, a constant reminder of what happens when an advanced civilization mistakes patience for weakness and mercy for submission. The galaxy would never make that mistake again. Phase 1 of humanity's response was complete, but Operation Starfall was far from over. 1 month after Operation Starfall began, the Viridian Collective was unrecognizable. Their once mighty empire had fractured not from external force, but from within. The changes wrought by humanity's quantum-conscious warfare and Dr. Tanaka's nanobots had transformed their society at its fundamental level. Supreme Commander Zextal, once the proud architect of the New Eden massacre, now spent his days in a quantum-shifted cell where time moved differently. For him, centuries passed in what others experienced as hours, each moment filled with the emotional echoes of those he had ordered killed. "The subject's empathy levels have stabilized," Dr. Rice reported, studying the readings from the quantum prison. "He's experienced the death of New Eden from 5 million different perspectives. The neural restructuring is complete." Admiral Patel watched through the quantum-reinforced observation window as the once mighty warrior curled into a fetal position, his scales having lost their bioluminescence. "Has he received the memories yet?" "Not yet," Dr. Singh answered, adjusting the quantum field parameters. "We're preparing to upload the generational trauma package now. He'll experience not just the deaths, but the grief of every family member, friend, and loved one left behind. A complete empathic immersion in humanity's loss." In orbit above the Viridian homeworld, Colonel Drake's quantum-linked fighter squadrons maintained their vigil. The ships phased between reality states, appearing as ghosts that could neither be tracked nor engage. Their presence served as a constant reminder of humanity's new capabilities. "The secondary effects are spreading faster than projected," Lieutenant Kovacs reported from her neural monitoring station. "The quantum consciousness modifications are being passed down genetically. New Viridian births are showing baseline empathy levels equivalent to human standards." But it wasn't just the Viridians who were changing. Humanity's leap into quantum consciousness had unexpected consequences for their own species. The neural links designed for military operations had begun to create a subtle psychological network across human space. People reported increased empathy, shared dreams, and a growing sense of collective purpose. "We're evolving," Dr. Tanaka observed, reviewing the data from her lab on Europa. "The quantum consciousness technology isn't just a weapon system anymore. It's becoming part of who we are." In the grand chamber where Zextal had once celebrated his victory, a new Viridian council gathered. Their scales now pulsed with subdued colors, reflecting their altered emotional states. Every one of them had experienced the quantum nightmares, the forced empathy, the understanding of what they had done. "We submit," their new leader, Sinra, transmitted to the EA's nemesis. Her voice carried the weight of genuine remorse, not just learned, but engineered into her species' very DNA. "We understand now. We feel everything." Admiral Patel stood on her bridge, connected through the quantum network to every human ship, every crew member, every consciousness that had participated in humanity's response. "Understanding isn't enough," she replied. "Feeling isn't enough. There must be justice." The quantum tiers above Viridian worlds widened again, revealing humanity's next phase. Massive structures emerge, reality-warping architectures that defied conventional physics. "These are the monuments," Patel announced. "They will remain in quantum-locked orbit above your major cities for the next 1,000 years. They will broadcast the memories of New Eden, the pain of loss, the weight of your actions, to every Viridian mind within range. Your children's children will know what you did, will feel what you did, will understand what it means to wrong humanity." But even in humanity's vengeance, there was calculation. The quantum consciousness technology had given them not just the power to punish, but the wisdom to understand the implications of their actions. The monuments would serve not just as instruments of justice, but as tools of transformation. "Your species will change," Patel continued, "not through extinction, but through evolution. The empathy we've engineered into your biology will ensure that no future generation of Viridians can ever commit such atrocities again. You will become better, not because you choose to, but because we have rewritten what you are." Dr. Singh's quantum readings showed the full scope of the transformation. The Viridian quantum signature was permanently altered, their consciousness restructured at the deepest level. They would never again be the species that had attacked New Eden. They couldn't be. "Some might call this cruel," Patel addressed her crew, her words carrying through the quantum network to all of humanity. "Some might say we've gone too far. But they forget what you did. They forget that you didn't just kill our people. You celebrated it. You thought it proved your superiority." She turned to face the main viewer, where Sinra waited. "Now you'll spend the rest of your species' existence proving that you can be better. That's not cruelty. That's evolution." The quantum network hummed with approval. Humanity's collective consciousness united in purpose. They had not just avenged their dead. They had transformed their enemies into something new. Something that could, perhaps, one day be worthy of forgiveness. But that day was still 1,000 years away. For now, the monuments would stand watch. Humanity's power would grow, and the galaxy would remember the lesson. Never mistake humanity's mercy for weakness. Never assume that patience means submission. And never, ever, harm what humanity holds dear. 10 years after Operation Starfall, the galaxy had changed in ways no species had predicted. The quantum revolution that humanity had unleashed didn't remain contained to their conflict with the Viridians. It rippled across space and time, reshaping the fundamental nature of interstellar civilization. Admiral Patel, now bearing the title of Quantum Administrator, stood in the newly constructed Harmony Chamber on Earth. Through quantum-enhanced senses, she could feel the pulse of human consciousness across thousands of light years, a network of minds united not in vengeance anymore, but in purpose. "The latest reports from Viridia are unexpected," Dr. Singh announced, his hologram flickering with quantum energy. Age had whitened his hair, but his eyes held the same intensity. "The third generation of quantum-modified children are showing abilities we didn't engineer." On the main display, footage showed young Viridians demonstrating unprecedented levels of empathic connection. They weren't just feeling emotions. They were sharing consciousness across vast distances, much like humans now did through their quantum network. "They're adapting," Dr. Tanaka observed, her presence joining them through quantum projection from her new research facility on Mars. The nanobots we use to modify their biology. The changes are evolving beyond our original parameters. They're becoming something new. In the decades since humanity's revenge, the Viridians had indeed transformed. The monuments still orbited their worlds, broadcasting the memories of New Eden, but something unprecedented had occurred. Instead of breaking under the weight of enforced empathy, their species had embraced it, turning their collective guilt into a driving force for change. "Show them," Patel commanded, and the display shifted to reveal the New Eden Memorial. Where once there had been a world reduced to green clouds, now stood a massive quantum-engineered sphere. Viridian engineers, working alongside human quantum scientists, had constructed a memorial that existed in multiple reality states simultaneously. Within its quantum-shifted spaces, perfect recreations of every life lost on New Eden continued to exist, not as simulations, but as quantum echoes preserved in the fabric of space-time itself. "They're not just remembering our dead," Lieutenant Kovacs, now Director of Quantum Integration, explained. "They're keeping them alive in quantum state, learning from them, understanding them at a level we never anticipated." The quantum network hummed with a new frequency as Dr. Rice presented her latest findings. "The barrier between our species is breaking down," she reported. "The quantum consciousness technology we developed for warfare has evolved into something else. Humans and Viridians are beginning to share a collective quantum consciousness. Not forced, not engineered, but evolving naturally." Colonel Drake, his fighter squadron now serving as quantum peacekeepers, transmitted from the edge of known space. "Other species are noticing. The quantum tiers we created, they're appearing naturally now. Reality itself is adapting to the changes we initiated." In the quantum-shifted spaces above Viridia Prime, the original monument had transformed. What began as an instrument of punishment now served as a beacon, broadcasting not just memories of loss, but visions of a possible future. The combined quantum consciousness of two species, once locked in a cycle of violence, now worked together to understand the very nature of existence itself. "We came here for revenge," Patel addressed the assembled Galactic Council, their consciousness linked through the quantum network. "We came to punish those who thought they could harm humanity with impunity. But in our vengeance, we discovered something greater." The quantum displays showed the spread of the transformation. Worlds where different species were beginning to experience the first signs of quantum consciousness, civilizations reaching out to join the growing network of shared understanding. "The Viridians destroyed one human colony," she continued. "In response, we transformed not just their species, but the very nature of galactic civilization. Our revenge wasn't just in punishing them, it was in forcing them to be better. And in doing so, we made ourselves better too." Sinra, her quantum consciousness now permanently linked to the human network, stood beside Patel. Her scales shimmered with colors that reflected not just her own emotions, but the collective feelings of billions of connected minds. "We had no idea," she admitted, her thoughts resonating through the quantum field. "We thought we were superior, and in our pride, we committed an atrocity. But your response, you didn't just defeat us. You didn't just change us. You showed us what we could become." The quantum network pulsed with the combined consciousness of two species that had moved beyond conflict into something entirely new. The tiers in reality that humanity had created as weapons now served as gateways to understanding, bridges between minds that had once thought themselves separate. "Remember New Eden," Patel spoke the phrase that had once been a battle cry. But now it carried a different meaning. "Remember what we lost, what we gained, and what we became. Remember that humanity's greatest strength isn't in our capacity for vengeance, but in our ability to transform that vengeance into evolution. Above Earth, above Viridia Prime, above every world touched by the quantum revolution, reality itself seemed to shimmer with possibility. The galaxy had learned its lesson about underestimating humanity. But more importantly, humanity had learned something about itself. They had come seeking revenge. They had stayed to reshape the future, and in the quantum-shifted spaces between what was and what could be, a new form of civilization was taking shape, one born from humanity's rage, tempered by their wisdom, and sustained by their endless capacity for transformation. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with quantum energy, a reminder that the greatest weapons weren't those that destroyed, but those that forced evolution. Humanity had not just avenged their own. They had changed what it meant to be alive in a quantum universe, and the galaxy would never be the same again.